Sheryl Ralph and her husband lived separately for 20 years.
20 years.
That's amazing.
Sheryl Ralph.
Who that?
Sheryl Ralph is the mom in
love
Sister
that for her.
Act. Sister Act 2.
You don't know Sheryl.
Whoa, her sister. Act
Yeah.
two. I didn't know her name.
Moesha's
I
not
just
Moesha's
knew her.
mom. Was she Moesha? She was
But I never
Moesha's
knew her
mom.
name.
Moesha's
Yeah,
mom? Was she
No, but she
Moesha's
was-
mom? Is what I'm asking.
Abbott Elementary?
No, oh, no.
No, I don't.
Shirley Girl.
Moesha's.
Was it? Yeah, I feel like she
Mom,
was.
no?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It
Am I
was.
tripping?
It was.
Yeah, it's
Shirley
her.
Ralph.
she's
She has
also the
not
Dream Girl,
aged.
the original Dream Girls. She was in the original Dream Girls. Abbott Elementary, obviously, is her newest thing. Very distinct voice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if I'd like getting reprimanded in that voice.
What if there's anybody that will put you in your place?
Yeah.
It's her.
It's her.
Real Jamaican
That voice.
mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's Jamaican.
Enunciates everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she is.
very
Sure, She's
Jamaican.
very Jamaican for sure.
Do they have
Um,
kids?
Yes, they have a
Well,
bunch of kids.
No, they're not his kids.
Okay.
So he was.
He has
she
kids.
was.
Yeah.
She was previously married, and
Mhm.
she had her 2 kids, Coco and I forget his name, but he just got married too, from their father. They look exactly like their father.
Okay.
And then I don't know if he has kids,
He has
but they
kids
don't
from
have
his
kids
previous
together
marriage. Yeah.
because they are in their 60s, late 60s. She's 68, so.
Well, they've been together for 20 years. So
I know,
like when they
but
started together, it
40s,
was almost,
there was, like-
yeah, it was over.
And I think like
Yeah.
kids were out of the question from the start, right? Because she's in LA and he's what?
in Philadelphia.
Philly.
His job is very important. My job is very important.
Nobody is gonna be in the background. It's like, you got
He
it.
has his life. I have my life.
That's what we agreed
She
upon,
wasn't-
and that's how it's gonna be.
It was amazing.
She wasn't one of the sisters of Aunt Viv, was she?
no.
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 I'm thinking of the other.
But could this be the cheat code? Because we also.
The literal cheat code, yeah, for sure.
Ooh.
There's no
So you're saying he's
way.
cheating?
No,
Or she's
no. I
cheating.
think you have to be like a certain level of like maturity to do this. I think if you're doing this in your 40s, after like a second marriage, that makes sense. But if this is your first relationship or whatever,
20s? No way.
no man,
The overthinking? Yeah, right.
not even that. It just. Are you really living in a relationship? You know what I mean? Like it's like
They're very sure in who they
What do you
are.
mean living? Yeah, that's my thing.
yeah.
This is like, to me, the epitome of trust and love.
Yeah.
It's
the
like,
epitome of love.
absolutely.
Interesting.
What I don't know how else to phrase it when you can be away from your partner and just trust that everything's fine. Like
You have to have really good systems in place.
yeah.
Like,
It
you have
takes
to
a
really
lot.
care.
Trust
You
is
have to
synonymous?
really.
Or you just
yeah.
have an open
No, I
relationship.
don't think it's synonymous, but I do think that
Because what you described is trust, not love to me.
yeah, no, I agree, but I'm
Okay.
saying one component of love
Mhm,
is
is
trust.
Sure.
And that part, especially when that, I guess it trickles down to other things like honesty and communication, all these other things. And it covers a lot of ground, but I feel like that's the foundation of what they have built if they're able to live separately for 20 years. Like that has to be the foundation is trust. I have to trust you as a person.
Yo, one of my best friends has been married to his wife for 15 years. And from the moment they got married, they didn't live together.
Love
They
that.
one lived in one country, another person lived in North America, and like every few months they would travel somewhere and meet up. Let's meet up in Trinidad. Let's meet up in Jamaica. Let's
I think
meet up
that's
in-"
fun.
You know what I mean? And at first I was like, "How do you guys do this?" But then she was like, "Oh, I can't stand him. I need distance to love him." But when we see each other, it's like, "Oh, it's strong."
Yeah.
But then
And you don't want to fight because of the little time you get with each other.
right. But
you
then
just
on
make
top
it the
of
best times ever.
they also have like an understanding where she does her thing, he does their thing, and they're open about it. But like
A lot of people are very codependent in relationships,
Facts.
and I think that
Almost too much.
And that's why
almost too
people
much.
have
Yeah,
to
and it's like
be
you
all
need
up
you
under
need to
each
have your own lives in order, because if you are too inner with each other,
Then it
that
gets
familiarity
super
breeds
unhealthy, resentment.
disrespect.
No, resentment first.
and resentment.
Resentment first
and,
for sure. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
a
like,
lot
you're
of
living a
different
life
things.
without me. How dare you?
Yeah, and because there's no way to like break free from that
Yeah.
either,
And
because
then
a
that's seen as a
change in
crime.
pattern is a change in
oh my god.
in behavior, a change in perspective.
You're changing the dynamic
Yeah,
of the
that's
It's
relationship.
real
changing the
shit.
dynamic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why a lot of times it's like, yo, how you start is how you have to finish. Because if you, especially with women, I don't know, I'm not too sure how men, obviously I don't date men, I don't know how men deal with pattern changes, but women cannot compute pattern changes. when you as a man do something you've never done, I've experienced a lot of overthinking and just like questions that to me don't make sense.
I feel
but
like
it's like, yeah, obviously you've been doing this way for however long, and you did this somewhere differently for a week now. What's happening? What's going
I
on?
also think because a lot of times men are such creatures of habit.
Mhm.
There's like men will do something like, okay, I like this, the way you eat.
Yeah.
This is how I like to eat, and this is how I'm going to do it. So then once they switch something up, it's like,
What the fuck?
you don't do that. And a lot of men don't pay attention to things, you know?
Mhm.
So like they're a lot.
We're very
like,
oblivious.
and blindsided. Like it's just,
Very
this is
tunnel
all I
vision.
see. Nothing else matters. So once you start switching things up, women will be like, this is not like you. You do not. What is it?
But
Like, you're-
sometimes
they'll
you're
create
doing
things.
this.
Yes, this is
That's
that's my
right.
problem.
Have you ever seen that one clip recently? It's been going viral. It's this guy just sitting down looking at the spool of wire.
Yes.
And he's just like, man, I've had this spool of wire for 40 years.
And now it's
when I
it's
first
so-
bought it, it was this thick, and now I'm like,
Oh,
I'm nearing
yeah,
the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
And he's just sitting there with his Philadelphia Eagles hat,
Just tearing up.
looking, almost tearing up. And his wife's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Babe, this thing." And he fully breaks it down. You could see the sentiment. And she's like, "Well, I'm concerned because you're wearing your Phillies hat, and I don't know
Yeah.
what you're thinking right now." Like,
And he's like,
and he's
"All right,
like, "You know
fuck it,
what?
I'm done. I'm done." And he
I'm
just
outta
gets
here.
up and walks away.
Ruin like the moment.
Yeah, I follow this whole
She's
thing.
like,
and
but I'm
then-
looking at you. You're wearing your hat, so that what? Are you gonna go gamble? Or you like? I don't know what.
You know what
trauma
I
she has
always
with that
think
hat.
of, bro? Is that Patrice O'Neal joke. And this is why some comedians are like just philosophers. Patrice O'Neal has that joke where a man is sitting inside the room. He's watching a game on TV. Wife wakes up from a nap.
Like this.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You watching the game? Let me watch the game. Do we have to watch the game? Let's watch something else. Why is the window open? Close the window. This is gonna be a draft in here. What are you doing? And she just changes the entire environment to what she wants, thinking that you want what she wants
Yeah.
because you love her.
Like, we like this.
It's like it's when you talk about like changing, especially as a man, there's especially when you have things you want to change from yourself. That process, you ever be like out with people who have only seen you online,
Yep.
and so they
have this
only
perception of who
throw
you are.
comedy at you. They expect you to be bouncing off the walls, singing, blah blah.
Yeah.
And when you don't do that, and you're
wrong?
just chilling,
They're
What's
like,
wrong?
what's wrong?
Is everything okay? Like,
What's wrong?
You mad or something?
It happens the same way in trying to reverse things you do poorly or things that you think are just not good as a human being. You start like pulling back from certain things, or even like in an argument, you do something that you would normally not do.
Mm.
It's questioned, even though it's a good thing, it can be questionable.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to women presenting something to a man, they'll be like, this needs to change. And then the men won't change it for a very long time. And then whenever it does click, oh, I should change this. It's like, why are you changing it now when I asked
Because
you to change it?
women
so
don't
long
give men
ago?
time. We need time. You guys have been fostered and grown with accepting and realizing your feelings. A lot of men are just realizing they have feelings. So it's like you have men now who are, especially in this age of, oh, you need to be emotionally intelligent, you need to be a clear communicator, all these things. We need time to process. And I think I seen a clip where a guy said, a lot of women think that they're great communicators because they present the problem first, and they're early to present the problem and want to discuss it. But realistically, a lot of men need time to process what happened and then think it through, then come up with however they feel. So when a woman wants to talk right away and the man's getting defensive or combative, it's because he doesn't know how he feels yet. And now you're both trying to talk about something that one person's not ready to, the other person's ready to, and you're just gonna keep butting heads in that moment until you separate. Then you get a couple hours, then they come back, and the man wants to talk, and now the woman doesn't want to talk anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of times, like in Alicia's example, right, when men are brought, like, hey, you're fucking up in this area, a lot of times there's shame that comes to men's minds.
Absolutely.
That's
And
the
so-
first thing. It's ego and
Exactly.
pride.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So then they react
Absolutely.
like a child.
Absolutely.
Oh, so I do everything wrong.
Yeah.
So everything I do is so. Oh, you're not grateful for this, blah blah, and it's just an explosion.
I think back of our heads is we're
But that
poor
makes-
leader. You're like that's what
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
hearing.
You're
Everything
feeling- yeah.
that's trailing,
You're
that's
flogging
being
yourself. You're
filtered
questioning
to
your
us
man.
is
Flogging
like
yourself, yeah.
I'm supposed to be the leading of this household.
I'm
I'm supposed
failing.
to do that. I'm failing,
Yeah.
and I'm trying my hardest
You know what
in
that
your
is, though?
in your mind.
That's narcissism.
Is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
because
that's
when
a form of
you're
narcissism.
literally you're being told like, hey, you're fucking up in this area, you make it all about you.
Mm-hmm.
Of like,
You
there
make it
go,
way bigger
fucked
than
it
what
up.
it is. Because
Exactly.
it could be like one simple thing
Yeah.
where it's like, I'm telling you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it's this, this, and this, and this. So you're just saying I'm overall shit. And it's
Just
like,
projecting or yeah.
You know who else does that? Parents.
Yeah.
A lot of Caribbean parents, like,
Parents.
or
There's
Parents
even-
in general,
There's
yeah.
specific like mother narcissism versus father narcissism, but
So
I
you're
feel
saying
like a
I'm
lot
a
of
bad
times.
mom?
No.
So you're saying I'm a
exactly.
bad
Mom,
dad?
everyone has that experience, right?
But I think also we're propped up in a way to be in that mind frame.
of
Like, what if you've been told your whole life you're the man, you got to be the leader, you got to do this, you got to do that. In your brain, how else are you supposed to think?
oh no, the thinking is not wrong. The reaction is poor.
Yeah, but the reaction is because of the thinking. You
No,
see what
the
I'm
reaction
saying?
is because you haven't been able to deal with your emotions. Like
Mhm.
you're right in terms
You
of like, hey, you
haven't-
should be leaving, blah blah. But it's like, don't have a temper tantrum as an adult.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And see, there's a key word there, temper.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on this vibe where I'm like, all right, Norm, are you the thermostat or are you a thermometer? Because when you
Break
think
that
about
down.
it,
Hold on, that sounds hard. bro.
God damn,
That's
nigga.
a bomb.
break it down. Let me break down the science, son, the
damn.
mathematics.
Damn, bro.
When you think about a thermometer, how does a thermometer operate?
you put it in
It's
hot water.
put in something.
Wait,
It reads the temperature around. It's
what's the other
affected
one?
by the
What's
temperature,
around it.
what's around it. Whereas the thermostat, it controls the
Controls
temperature.
what the temperature. Come on now.
Right?
Come on now. Romo Shanti ala ma mama.
Right.
Glory.
That's
So I've
crazy.
been on this tip right now where I'm just like, man, if I'm being too thermometer like, and I'm like, because at the top of the year I went through this little situation where I was just like, too many things were affecting me, and I'm like, why am I freaking out right now?
Yeah.
Just the year just started.
Yeah.
Like I can't be, but then I realized I'm letting too many different things affect me and allowing too many things.
What controls you is your
influence me.
master.
Right. So I'm just like, so how do I let all this shit fade? I just went online, just did a bunch of reading, and then when I stumbled upon this, are you a thermostat or are you a thermometer? I'm like, oh fuck, that's it.
Tyson put it
That's all
great.
it
Like, yeah, what you let angers you becomes your master.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you let get you out of your emotions becomes your master. They run you. They control what you can or can't do.
Sure.
And so yeah, once you get a lock on that, which is the hardest thing I feel like in the world.